Chemical Remorse with Sanctuary of Reality, my comic review series. Time now for Cerebus issue 177, the 27th chapter of Mothers and Daughters. After another night of heavy drinking, Victor Reed wakes up with a massive hangover. He recalls what led to this event. The night prior, his assistant Milieu had arrived with testimony of an early telescope user who bore witness to Cerebus's ascension to the moon. With this key bit of information, exactly what he needed for his Reed series of Ascension, Victor put off his meeting with his Vertigo Horse editor once more as Victor and Milieu went out for dinner to celebrate. Unfortunately, after having drank quite a bit, he returned home to learn his Vertigo Horse editor demanded they meet, or else for him to return his 2,000 crown advance. The rage he felt, coupled with the booze, caused the release of Ratsiev, the anti-Victor. This personality, Victor's dark misogynistic side, proceeded to go on an eloquent tirade, with Milieu caught at the center of his verbal venom. Victor finishes recalling this and finally has his meeting with his editor, Karen Potts. What awaits Victor at the offices of Vertigo Horse? In the papal throne room, Suentius Poe points out the irrelevancy of the question of God or Goddess, stressing the improvement of the human condition as the only importance. He urges them to abandon their quest for the throne, noting that the church that they're in is merely a monument to oppression. Poe then addresses Astoria, telling her that when she set out of the hotel alone, she freed herself from being a political figure, but in journeying to the church to try to take part in the Ascension, she traded one captivity for another of the same cloth. He hopes that she won't seek to take part in it. Siren throws shade at Poe's love of chess, propping up her role as a mother being more important. Poe proceeds to point out that one person's trifle is another person's reason for living, and in a world of overpopulation, childbirth is the greatest self-indulgence. Astoria angrily cuts in and points out how Cerebus and Siren aren't even listening to him. Is she right, or is she just as guilty? Karen Potts, the editor at Vertigo Horse, seems to be a combo of Karen Berger of Vertigo Comics and Carl Potts of Marvel's Epic Comics imprint. Next issue, we meet her assistant, Carl Berger, who is another combo of the pair. There's some interesting moments in the Reeds portion of this issue, ones which have higher reflection upon why we're being forced to deal with a Reeds portion of the story. One being that Victor hopes Ascension will be the first Reed series without illustrations, as the art rarely has anything to do with the text and just serves to divide the reader's attention, inhibiting their inner vision. The audience is more at the writer's control in pure text. As such, the illustrations in this issue section are just statues and such that have nothing to do with the story. I mean, they're probably background pieces from the environments in the story, but aside from one of them getting a brief mention, they don't factor into the tale whatsoever. This portion provides insight into why Dave is choosing to go full-on text here, and why he'll continue to do so for the rest of Reeds. The portion about Victor's family life is definitely pure Dave Sim autobiographical. Similarly, Ratsiev is apparently based on Dave's real, mean, drunk side. It's actually very brave of him to admit this about himself. That's the thing about this book. Dave is opening up to his audience and showing what can only be described as vulnerability, which a lot of people would see as a positive thing. You know, normally if you show vulnerability, it's like, oh, that's a good thing. We like vulnerability. It makes you more human, right? Instead of appreciating his honesty, people see it as evidence of him being a monster and hold it up as proof that he and Cerebus as a series deserve to be shunned and ostracized. As I've said and will continue to say, I have a problem with the timing of what makes up the bulk of Reads, but to dismiss it outright is to ignore the talent that went into making it. Dave's a clear and clever writer in both the visual and textual mediums. Next time, Poe says goodbye.